over Mazi Street, a dusty but lively part of the township where neighbors knew each other's business before breakfast. People sold bread, fish, second-hand shoes, and even dreams if you had the right words. One morning, a young woman with soft eyes, with a matching scarf over her clean cornrows and a small box of books, walked into the street and asked for a room. She wore plain slippers and a simple dress, the kind that didn't scream money. Her name was Anuli. No one knew she was the daughter of one of the richest men in the country, Chief Dyke, owner of factories, hotels, and more land than some kings. Anuli was tired of fake smiles and greedy suitors, men who bought roses and whispered sweet lies, only to ask for her father's number later. She wanted something different, something true. So she packed her bags, left the city, and took a job as a teacher in a small township school. The salary was small. The classroom had more holes than chalk, but she felt peace for the first time in years. Her first day in class was chaos. A boy threw a shoe at her by mistake. Another one stole chalk from her bag, but she smiled, cleaned the board, and said, "Good morning, everyone. I'm teacher Anuli." Later that day, as she was sweeping her corner in Mama Nkechi's compound, a voice called from the side. "Now you dey teach those stubborn children now?" asked the young man. She looked up and smiled. "Yes, it's tough, but I like it." I be Kelechi. I help my uncle at the mechanic shop near the school." She nodded. "Nice to meet you, Kelechi." Days passed. Kelechi would bring her roasted corn during break time. They laughed often. He didn't know she was a billionaire's daughter. He just saw a kind, strong woman who didn't complain when rain leaked into her room. One night, while they walked back from a community cleanup, he said, "You're not like the others. You care. You listen." Anuli blinked. That's the nicest thing anyone has said to me. But deep down, her heart beat fast. What if he found out the truth? Then came the twist. A black SUV pulled up in front of the school. Chief Dyke stepped out, dressed in a white agbada and dark glasses. The children screamed. Teachers froze. Anuli stood still, her heart in her stomach. "Daddy, what are you doing here?" she whispered. "I came to take you home," he said, loud enough for everyone to hear. Kelechi stared at her, confused. "Daddy?" The truth was out. If you find the story interesting and want to know what happened next, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more intriguing African folk tales. The news spread like wild bushfire. By the next morning, everybody in Mazi Street knew that teacher Anuli was not just a teacher. She was the daughter of Chief Dyke, the billionaire. But for Kelechi, it felt like a betrayal. He didn't speak to her the next day. He walked past her like she was a ghost. At break time, Anuli found him at the mechanic shop, wiping grease off his hands. "Kelechi, please, can we talk?" she said softly. He didn't look up. "So, all this time, you were just playing us?" "No," her voice cracked. "I just wanted to live a normal life. I didn't lie to hurt anyone." He finally looked at her. "But you did lie. You made me feel like we were equals. I didn't think you'd ever like me if you knew who I really was." He scoffed. "You don't get it, do you? It's not your money. It's the fact that you didn't trust me enough to tell me." Those words hit her like cold water. Later that day, people stared when she walked through the market. Some smiled fake smiles. Others whispered behind her back. She missed how it was before, when she was just Anuli, the struggling teacher who bought roasted plantain and greeted elders on the street. Now everyone looked at her like she didn't belong. That night, Chief Dyke sat with her in Mama Onkechi's tiny sitting room. He looked uncomfortable on the wooden chair. You've made your point, Anuli, he said. Come back home. Enough of this nonsense. She shook her head. It's not nonsense to me, Daddy. These people are real. Their struggles are real. I've learned more here than I ever did in your mansion. He sighed. You've got a heart like your mother. But be careful. This world can eat people like you alive. Just then, there was a knock at the door. Kelechi stood outside, holding a small wrapped parcel. I came to return your book, he said, eyes avoiding hers. Thank you, she said, taking it. Do you hate me now? She asked, just before he turned to leave. He hesitated. I'm still angry, but I don't hate you. Just give me time. She nodded slowly. I will. As he walked away into the night, Anuli felt both sad and hopeful. Maybe she had ruined it. Or maybe, just maybe, this was the beginning of something honest. 2 weeks passed. Anuli still lived in Mama Nkechi's compound, still taught the children, and still swept her little room every evening. But things continued to change. The people in the township endlessly looked at her differently. Some treated her with fake respect. Others acted like she didn't belong anymore. But she stayed. She stayed because her heart told her to. Kelechi didn't come around like before. He kept busy at the mechanic shop. When they passed each other on the road, he gave a polite nod, but the warmth was gone. It hurt more than she expected. One Saturday morning, her father returned, but this time with an envelope. He sat her down in the same chair and said, This is your last chance, Anuli. Inside this envelope is a job offer in one of our private schools in Abuja. You'll have a driver, a nice apartment, full security. She looked at the envelope. Her fingers trembled. The paper smelled expensive. I'm not ready to leave, she said quietly. Her father frowned. Why? For what? These people gossip behind your back. That Kelechi boy has no ambition. He's not the problem, she replied. I'm not staying because of him. I'm staying because I found something real here. Something I never felt in all your hotels and shiny houses. He shook his head and stood up. I'll give you till the end of the week. If you don't come back, I'll cut you off. No more support. She nodded. I understand. That night, she sat outside on a plastic chair, staring at the moon. The streets were quiet. Suddenly, she heard footsteps. Kelechi stood beside her, hands in his pockets. I heard your father's back, he said. She nodded. You leaving? She took a deep breath. I don't know yet. Silence stretched between them before he finally spoke again. You've changed me, Anuli. At first, I was angry, but now, I see what you're trying to do. You're not just some rich girl playing poor. You actually care. She turned to him. That means a lot. I still don't know where we stand, he added. But if you choose to stay, I'd like to start again, slowly. Her heart skipped. She smiled. I'd like that. By the next morning, the envelope was still on the table, untouched. Anuli had a choice to make, money or meaning, and her heart was already leaning toward one. Anuli stood outside the township school, watching the children run and laugh like nothing else mattered. Inside, the walls were still cracked, the roof still leaked when it rained, and the desks still wobbled. But it was home now. Her heart felt tied to this place, to these children, to the people, and maybe to Kelechi, too. That afternoon, Mama Nkechi called her into the backyard. My daughter, she said, wiping her wet hands on her wrapper. I heard Chief Dyke say he's coming tomorrow to take you by force. You better decide before it's too late. Anuli nodded. I already did. She had written a letter, one short page, folded twice, kept in the side pocket of her school bag. It wasn't for her father. It was for Kelechi. The next morning, she slipped it into a small envelope and left it on his workbench at the mechanic shop. He wasn't there yet. She didn't want to talk. Not now. She wanted him to read it on his own. The note said, "Dear Kelechi, I'm not leaving. Not because of you, not because I'm trying to prove anything, but because this place, this simple life, has changed me forever. You showed me what real means. I hope one day you can see me the same way again. Anuli." That same day, she packed her few clothes and moved into a staff room near the school. It was smaller, older, and had no mirror, but it felt honest. Later that evening, her father arrived, just like Mama Nkechi warned. A black SUV, 2 bodyguards, and 1 angry billionaire. Anuli met him at the gate with calm eyes. "I'm not going with you," she said firmly. He sighed deeply. "Then don't call me when you're hungry." She didn't reply. As he drove off, neighbors peeked from windows. Some clapped quietly. Others just shook their heads in wonder. That night, there was a knock at her new door. Kelechi stood there, holding her letter. "I read it," he said simply. She looked up, holding her breath. "I'm proud of you," he continued. "I don't know what this means for us yet, but I'm here. If you ever need help fixing that broken desk in your class." She laughed through her tears. "Deal." They didn't hug. They didn't kiss. But something strong passed between them. Trust. 3 weeks passed. Life in the township settled into a quiet rhythm again. Anuli was no longer seen as the rich girl hiding, but as teacher Anuli, the woman who stayed, the woman who chose the township over diamonds. Her students respected her. Their parents trusted her. Even Mama Nkechi said, "You're one of us now." Kelechi and Anuli grew closer again, slowly, just like they agreed. They talk during lunch breaks, laugh about the stubborn car that always stalled near the school, and walk together after community meetings. But neither said the word love. It was too soon. Then something happened. One rainy afternoon, Anuli got to the school and found the gate wide open. Inside, the small storeroom that held the donated supplies, books, chalk, and uniforms had been broken into. Everything was gone. The headmaster, Mr. Oho, was pacing in front of the damaged door. "Thieves!" he spat. "God will judge them." "But the children need those books," Anuli whispered, heart sinking. "That was the only help we got this term," Mr. Oho said. "I don't know what to do now." By evening, the news had spread. Parents gathered around the school in anger. One mother shouted, "If they can't keep books safe, how will they keep our children safe?" Another added, "Maybe this wouldn't have happened if the rich teacher donated something useful." Anuli stood frozen, her mouth dry. Even after all her efforts, the people still saw her as an outsider with money she refused to spend. Later that night, Kelechi found her sitting alone behind the classroom block. The rain had stopped, but her face was still wet. "I tried, Kelechi. I really tried," she said. "I know," he replied, "but this place is tough. Things go wrong even when you're doing your best. I just want to help. I don't want to flash my father's money, but maybe I should have done more." He sat beside her. "You've helped more than you know, but maybe it's time to stop hiding. If you're going to be here, be fully here. Don't let pride stop you from using your resources." She looked at him. "Are you saying I should call my father?" He shrugged. "Not for yourself, but for the kids. Maybe." Anuli didn't sleep that night. By morning, she was holding her phone, staring at her father's number. Her thumb hovered over the call button. Her heart pounded. The last time she spoke to her father, he had said, "Don't call me when you're hungry." But this wasn't about hunger. It was about the children. She whispered a silent prayer and pressed the button. The phone rang twice. Anuli! Chief Dyke's voice was sharp, surprised. Daddy, please don't hang up, she said quickly. I'm not calling to come home. Then why are you calling? He asked. She explained everything. The break-in, the stolen supplies, the children who now had no books or shoes. She told him about how hard they worked, just to pass tests with broken pencils and no chairs. Her voice shook. There was silence on the line. So what do you want me to do? He asked. I want to rebuild the storeroom, she said. And I want to do it quietly. No press, no interviews. No one needs to know it came from you. He sighed. You're just like your mother. She never liked noise either. Then, for the first time in months, she heard a small laugh from him. Fine, you'll get the money. But no more hiding. If you're going to help, help with your chest. I will, Daddy. Thank you. The next day, a delivery truck rolled into Mazi Street with new books, chairs, uniforms, and metal lockers. It had no branding, no logos, just brown cartons and strong men ready to carry them in. People gathered, whispering, Who brought all this? Anuli stepped forward, her voice clear. I did. The crowd went silent. Then a small voice from the back said, God bless you, Teacher Anli. It was one of her students. Mama and Kechi clapped first. Then the whole crowd joined. No one talked about her money. No one mocked her anymore. They just saw a woman who gave everything she had, heart and all. Later that day, Kelechi walked beside her. You did it, he said. We did it, she replied, smiling. He looked at her. You're not just strong, you're brave. She blushed and said, and you're patient. Thank you. They stood under the mango tree near the school, quietly watching the children carry their new books. But deep down, both of them knew the biggest decision was still coming. 2 months later, the township school looked like a different place. New windows, stronger doors, and fresh uniforms on the children. People didn't whisper behind Anuli's back anymore. They greeted her with respect. Parents now came to school meetings and brought gifts of yam, palm oil, and sometimes a live chicken. Their way of saying thank you. But something else had been building quietly too. Something between Anuli and Kelechi. He was still simple, still quiet, still wore the same old shirt with oil stains from the mechanic shop. But he listened. He made her laugh. And every time they sat under that mango tree, her heart felt safe. One evening after school, he brought her roasted plantain, like he used to. I've been thinking, he said, about you, about us. Annalie looked up, her chest tight. What about us? He took a deep breath. I don't have a fancy ring or a car, but I have peace, and I want to give that to you. Her eyes widened. He continued, I don't know what the future holds. I'm not a rich man, but if you want, we can build something together. Slow, small, and real. She was quiet for a long time. Then she said the one thing he didn't expect. I'm not ready yet. Kelechi blinked. Oh, but, she added quickly, not because I don't love you. I do. But I've just started standing on my own feet. I want to grow more, and I want you to grow too. He smiled, even though his heart clearly cracked a little. I understand, he said. I didn't come to pressure you. I just needed you to know how I feel. They sat in silence again. This time it wasn't awkward. It was full of respect. Suddenly, Anuli reached into a bag and handed him a small box. Inside was a brand new toolkit. Top quality tools. What's this for? He asked. For your own mechanic shop, she said. You've helped me build. Now I want to help you too. Kelechi stared at her. You believe in me that much? I always have. He held the box like it was gold, not because of the price, but because of what it meant. They didn't kiss. They didn't make promises. But something stronger happened. They chose patience. The township was calm that Sunday morning. Anuli sat alone at the school's wooden desk, the same one she used to cry on when everything felt like too much. The classroom smelled of dust, chalk, and fresh beginnings. In her hand was a pen, and in front of her, a blank sheet of paper addressed to one person, Chief Dyke. She took a deep breath and began to write. Dear Daddy, you once said I would come running back when things got hard. You were right. Things did get hard, but I tried to not run back. I stayed. I grew. I got hurt. I healed. I found people who had nothing, yet gave everything. I found children who didn't know how to spell their names, but still ran to school with smiles. And I found a man who didn't chase my last name, just my heart. You may not agree with all my choices. You may still think I'm wasting my potential. But for the first time in my life, I feel alive. I know you gave me everything. But here, I've learned how to give something back. Thank you for picking up the phone when I called. Thank you for trusting me with quiet support. I'm not coming home because I've already found home. With love, Anuli. She folded the letter, placed it in an envelope, and gave it to a trusted traveling trader who promised to deliver it to the city. That same day, she met Kelechi at his new shop. He had fixed up a corner shed with the toolkit she gave him, painted the front blue, hung a small sign that read, Kelechi Motors, honest hands only. You really did it, she said, smiling. So did you, he replied. They stood side by side, no big speeches, no crowd watching. Just two people who had chosen growth over ease, truth over comfort, and love without pressure. Weeks later, she received a package. No note, just a framed photo. Her as a little girl sitting on her father's shoulders. And a check with only 3 words scribbled on the back. I'm proud, Dad. Anli smiled. Tears ran down her cheeks as she read it again. Not because of the check. She didn't need that. But because of what it meant. Her father saw her now, not as a little girl who needed saving, but as a woman who had chosen her own path and walked it with courage. Weeks passed. Kelechi's little mechanic shop became a favorite in the township. He painted the signboard himself, blue and white. Kelechi Motors, honest hands only. Anuli continued teaching, guiding the children not just with books, but with love. And one evening, as the mango tree rustled with a quiet breeze, Kelechi knelt with a simple ring and said just 5 words, I'm ready now, Anuli. She didn't cry, she just said, me too. The wedding was small, held right there in the township. White cloths hung from sticks. Neighbors and friends brought their best, and the children sang. Mama Nkechi cried the loudest. Even the market women who once doubted her came bearing gifts. And just before the ceremony began, a black SUV pulled up. Chief Dyke stepped out in a clean agbada and dark glasses, but his face was soft. As he walked up to Anuli, he held her hands gently and said, You've made me proud, and I bless your union with all my heart. Kelechi stepped forward, nervous, but the chief placed a hand on his shoulder. Take care of my daughter, he said. I will, sir, Kelechi replied with steady eyes. From that day on, Anuli and her father never lost touch again. He visited the township from time to time, not with bodyguards, but with stories and smiles. And she visited the city too, not to live there, but to remind herself how far she had come. Anuli and Kelechi lived simply, but with joy. They didn't have everything, but they had each other, and they had peace. And in the hearts of everyone in Mercy Street, their story lived on. Moral of the story: a rich life isn't about what you have. It's about who walks beside you, who believes in you, and the peace you carry in your heart. If this story moved you, please follow and share it with someone who needs to believe in love, growth, and quiet, happy endings. Also, don't forget to share your thoughts. The end